Hey guys, I wanted to make a video about color theory. So let's first go in and look at the human eye. Okay, so on average the human retina contains about 120 million rod cells and around 6 million cone cells. So the rods, they are the ones that are reacting to the light, and the cones, they are the ones that are reacting to color. So this is the black and white vision, or the grayscale vision, and this is the color vision. And we can divide the cones also in three groups. So there's the blue, the red, and the green. That's it. We don't have any like yellow, stuff like that. We only have these three. So we make out all of our colors based on these three receptors. So if you look into only like the red ones, that means that there's about 2 million cone cells. And then if you start to compare 120 million rod cells to 2 million red cone cells, you kind of get an image like this. So this image illustrates 120 million pixels compared to 2 million pixels. And if you make them square, the largest one is 11,000 pixels wide, and the smallest one is 1,400 pixels wide. So this illustrates like the resolution differences in our color vision compared to our black and white vision. So my point here is that we can actually be pretty sloppy when it comes to color, as long as the values are right. And I'll prove it to you. So what I did is I found a picture of a really colorful shoe, and I separated the colors and the values in two different layers. So I have the colors here and the values here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to really destroy the colors. So I will like around 10%, and now it doesn't have any good resolution. It's really destroyed. It's super loose, and I will scale it back up again. Look at the resolution on that. It's really bad. Okay, so if you look at the colors, it's blurry. We can even add a blur actually. Let's do that. Like so. And then let's see how it looks. Boom. It still looks good. Because we have so much better light and black or black and white vision, and the color vision are really poor, it still works. Now we're going to look a bit closer on how Photoshop treats color. Okay, so let's look at this Happy Holidays message that I created. So we have the red and the yellow. This is a color picked from here and here. Okay, so we have the yellow and the red, and we can read it quite fine. We have a good contrast. And if you look at this one, I think for most people it's very hard to look at. It's kind of shaking, and that's because in this case we don't really have separation with value. It's only separation with color, and as we just discussed, our color vision are very poor. That's why it's really shaking up. Okay, and when you talk to graphic designers, they always say, okay, you need to make a grayscale of what you're doing in order so you can check if people with bad color vision can see it. And let's do that. Let's do it the standard way, and I'll show you what's wrong with it. Okay, so I'm gonna put on the hue saturation, and I'm gonna take the saturation all the way down. Okay, so what happened? well, we got a layer here that's a adjustment layer, and it affects everything that's under it. So it turns everything into grayscale. Okay, so let's look at this example. So we had the red one and the yellow one. And our perception is that the red is darker in value than the yellow. But when I turn on the grayscale, Photoshop actually tells us that, well, the red is lighter than the gray. So it's really confused. That's not how we perceive light and color. Okay, so but this is how Photoshop thinks about it. Let's look at how Photoshop uses color and values. Okay, so I have this document and I'm going to turn it into grayscale. So I use the standard method of going in and selecting hue saturation and then sliding the saturation all the way down. Okay, thank you. And so I made 2 flyers that says Happy Holidays, and the first one is color picked from the yellow of the sole and the red of the undersole, and this is the typical thing that, well, I'll see this error a lot of times. Okay, let's look at what's happening when I turn this into grayscale. Okay, so when I look at this in colors, I think like this. The yellow is quite light and the red is somewhat medium light value. And on this case, they're both very equal when it comes to value. And this means that it's hard to read because we have such poor color vision. So this looks calm because it has a separation in value, and for me this is very busy. It's almost like the red letters are shaking. They're really shaking, not standing still at all. But when I turn on the grayscale layer, I turn the grayscale on, boom, Photoshop tells us that, well, the red is actually lighter than the yellow, and it's plain wrong. And it also tells us that there's a good value separation between the red and the green in this one, and it's totally off. So we cannot trust this saturation tool. We have to use another one. And I will tell you the reason why Photoshop thinks like this. The reason is how it defines the values and how it defines color. Okay, so this is how it's using it. It has a hue, saturation and brightness scale. This is what it is using. So this is the color picked from the yellow, and this is the values. So it tells us that the brightness on this one is 85. And when I'm color picking the red one, it tells us the brightness on the red one is actually 100%. So then when I turn black on the grayscale, it's toning down, dragging down the values on the yellow, and it's pumping up the values on the red. It's because of this number here. When you look at like real colors, so this is the color wheel from NCS, Natural Color System, you can very easily see that we have all the different colors, and the different colors, they have different values. So we have to think about that when we are shifting values around. Okay, so the lightest value is of course this one, the yellow one, and the darkest one is this purple violet color here. That's the darkest. Okay, so we have these two, and the green and red are kind of similar. So are we gonna stop using Photoshop for colors? No, we're just gonna use a different tool. So instead of using the hue saturation, we're gonna use the black and white. Okay, so go under adjustment, black and white, and you get this property. Here you can shift the values on different colors. So it's for making everything into a grayscale, but you can shift the values on all the colors. So this is remember this is the yellow sole, so I can see, I can shift the values on that one. And I made a preset. So if you copy these numbers, you will get something that's very close to my color theory. So we have this layer, turn it on, and it turns everything into grayscale, but it will do so in a much more natural way for the human eye. So let's turn it on, and you can see on the let's look at the yellow sole and the red undersole. So turn it on, and this one will actually get darker, and this one is lighter. And if you look at the Happy Holidays here, it's much closer to how I perceive color. Okay, so here's the black and white with my presets. Looks very natural. And here's the hue saturation. I'll show you one more thing. Okay, so I have the shoe again, and I'm gonna I'm turning on the hue saturation. I'm making a copy like so. So this is hue saturation, and then I'm doing the same with the black and white filter. Copy, paste, black and white, and my presets. These are important. Okay, so now we're gonna use the color again. We're gonna put these colors that we already destroyed on top of the hue saturation version of the shoe, and we're gonna put it on top of the black and white preset shoe. Okay, so the first, the hue saturation. Whoa, look at that shoe. Look at that strange greenish color. And now let's look at the black and white version with the preset. Okay. Hue saturation layer on and off. Which one looks closer to the original? So we check. There's just a tiny difference, super tiny difference with the black and white. And let's look on the hue saturation. Look at the red, it's just lighting up the reds and pushing down all the yellows. Please, everyone, don't use hue saturation when it comes to values. It really destroys your values. Okay? Let's delete it. Let's never use it again. Bye.